City, Jordan. How many hoes will I get here?
My friends and I decided to go on a road trip to Chicago for no reason other than it was spring break and we had nothing to do. Our plan was to drive to Chicago, hang out there for one day, and then drive back home. I know, great plan. First, I met up with one of my friends to carpool. Of course, he had some questions.
You can film on those guys? Is that just pictures? Wait, seriously? You can film with that thing?
What?
I don't know if I believe you.
I filmed you with this camera.
Oh, I forgot.
This is James. He's 8 feet tall and one of my dear friends.
Wow. Are you sure that wasn't the film camera you were filming me with?
This is a film camera.
No, the one that uses film.
No, that's my film camera. That's my film camera that uses photos.
I hate this conversation.
We were off to meet up with everyone at one of our friends' house. 5 of us were going to fit into a Jeep Wrangler with a day's worth of stuff for a 15-hour drive. It's fine though, it's fine. This was a great idea, a really, really great idea.
And all the snacks.
I can put my bags in like where the seats are, like in the front of the seats if that's possible.
This is Tristan. He's a happy soul that tries to keep our spirits up even when nobody asks.
Well, yeah, we'll figure it out once everyone's here. We have all our stuff. We can.
We'll put the bags in the coupe for some space.
What?
This is Jillian. She trusts us to take this Jeep on a 15-hour drive to Chicago and back in one piece. How stupid of her.
Wait.
We just put them in the coupe. That way we can have more space.
You mean our bags for our overlay bags?
Yeah, we need more space. We'll put them in the coupe. We'll have more space in the back of the Jeep.
I need to take a nap.
Just jump in.
I need to take a nap.
We chilled out at our friend's house, waiting for the last member of the party to get out of work. We passed the time by planning what we were going to do in Chicago, eating as many chips as we can so we could be full, and make me's of ourselves.
Yours have that kind of...
They do. The curvature?
Yeah, right, like that comma to them.
This is Connor, whose house we are in right now. He was meant to go on this trip, but decided not to because he's a loser! But he still wanted to see us off before we left. What a nice chap.
Dude!
We eventually went outside to start a fire, and so Connor could show us the echo of his backyard out by the lake. If you shout it into the sky, the echo would take a couple of seconds and make it sound like someone else is actually shouting back.
2, 1. Oh, baby! Wow! All of us just played a part in it, except Jordan, because fuck him. Take the fucking picture. You weren't gonna take the picture. This camera takes videos. I didn't know that was possible.
He's the camera.
He's the camera lad. You guys have seen the Blair Witch and...
Oh, yeah.
I actually haven't seen the Blair Witch Project.
Cloverfield?
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen Cloverfield.
Like that's definitely, something definitely is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because you're doing this.
Yeah!
Only because I'm doing this, something's gonna happen.
Just watch like a hellbolt screams from across the lake. Oh god, this is so cool! Oh, my baby boy's really roasting toasted!
Oh, here she comes. Watch out, boy.
Just enough non-cadence. Oh, okay, this is where
There we go.
This is what the doctor would have ordered if the doctor were at, like, a restaurant. You know what I mean?
I sure don't, Connor, but thank you for housing us before we set off for Chicago. Don't worry, there'll be plenty of other trips in the future for you to bail on. Eventually, our last friend showed up and we were ready to go. We started packing up the Wrangler and Jill gave us a tour of our home on wheels for the adventure ahead.
And I forgot that the the window mechanisms were here, so I had to stop and I was like, what the fuck? How do we get the windows down? What the hell? And then I was like, oh shit.
like opening the door.
It's been a few years. Put the CDs up there. I've got all the CDs in here.
Oh, baby. We had a plethora of CDs to entertain us on this journey. Lana Del Rey, Jukebox the Ghost, 2 of the same Cage the Elephant album, we were set. But because I knew the CD train wouldn't last long, I made a giant playlist for the trip called Chicago to Chicago to Chicago to Chicago, and we're off! So begins our trip to Chicago, Illinois. We're all energetic, enthusiastic, and that's all a lie. A lot of us were tired, me especially, so I took a nap for a couple hours, but then woke up just in time to see us reach New York.
That's it! Boom! New York.
New York.
New York, baby.
We're there,
We
that's
just
it?
killed Massachusetts. Massachusetts is dead.
That's it.
There's no going back.
That's it. So there's no fireworks or anything. You guys made me take the camera out, so oh, that bump was the border.
that was the bump.
That was a person who was standing at the border.
Yeah, that was the
Exactly when we got
that was the ferryman asking for the 2 cents.
And with that somewhat of a milestone out of the way, we continued into the morning light. We were almost halfway through New York. How many miles till then, James?
2 miles. Count them, 2 miles.
2 miles.
I can't count that high.
It's like
Good morning.
7? It's like 7:30?
About, yeah.
So it's 1:56.
Jeez.
Shut up.
It's mid-afternoon.
Alright, it's 7:25.
I will.
It's very early. We also had daylight savings, so we had less time to sleep.
Sleep.
Who knew where?
Alright, you didn't sleep. You've been driving all night.
I hardly do.
Base.
We're like about 100 miles away from Buffalo.
100 miles from Buffalo?
At least 100 miles. But Buffalo, we're halfway.
Halfway.
Yes.
Oh, okay. 100 miles is only
The goal is to get there by 5 p.m. I think we can do it.
Oh, we can definitely do
We
it.
can definitely do it. It's a matter of are we.
This is me. This is James signing off.
James is about to switch off to chill.
It's so bad. Oh my god, we're here at the rest stop.
Yes. 100 miles to Buffalo, and then we were halfway. It's been a long drive, but the end is far from close. A lot of us were exhausted, mostly James, considering he drove through the entire night. Let's just keep at this angle of James sleeping. Nice. Are we in Buffalo?
Yeah, we're in Buffalo.
Oh my god, we're halfway.
We just entered.
Oh my god, we're halfway. We're halfway there. Oh, bless. Okay, 7 hours, only 7 more hours. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot.
That was the easy half, boys and girls.
Was it though? I'd argue it was the worst half.
No, I'd say it was the worst half.
It was the worst half because it's like we're in the day where are we?
I've
Do you think they have Buffalo Wild Wings in Buffalo?
Definitely.
Oh, they must.
And it's probably the best place.
Do you want more food than you can fathom for $4? Because that's what Cracker Barrel will
I
offer.
don't want old people food though.
It's such good old people food though.
There's no such thing.
Like, I bet there's a purgatory. Like, there's a Cracker Barrel right outside the pearly gates in heaven.
This is Eric. He's an adult man, but he's also my friend.
That's how good it is.
Yeah, there's a reason why it's outside the pearly gates of heaven.
You see, all I have is $4. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah. Oh, I got a recommendation for where we get deep dish. I got it from my source, so we're gonna be good.
I'm ready.
Yeah, you gotta be ready for 7 hours. We soon reached Pennsylvania, where Eric and I had I'll call it a discussion about the typography of the state's welcome sign.
Is that Comic Sans?
No, it's not Comic Sans, you fucking idiot.
It's closer to Comic Sans than
No, it's not.
It's so much closer.
No, it's not.
You recorded that, right?
I will fucking murder you.
I can't wait to play the tape back and we can compare them. And thank you for inviting me on the road trip.
Fuck. Okay, Eric, here's a sign we drove by, which I found on Google. Here. Then, I put in too much effort into remaking the sign with Comic Sans. Note the differences from the actual sign. This is the real one, this is the fake one. Real, fake. Real, fake. Real, fake. Real, fake. We stopped at a rest stop because, oh my goodness, did we all have to pee. We also used this time to reflect on the trip thus far. Here we were, over halfway to Chicago. It was absurd that we're actually doing this. It was also pretty cool. Before long, we headed back into the car to get back on the road.
Jill, I'm not buckled up.
Huh? I literally said to buckle up like 5 minutes ago.
It's okay, James.
But you took off without making sure we were all buckled. What is this? What is this?
You're an adult!
What is it? Dude, I'm just gonna be feeling around for your butt until I find this plug.
3 grown men.
yeah, that was
And I'm
good.
the
That
gay,
was
I'm
on camera. Don't look at me like that, Jordan. Don't look at me like you don't like it.
I didn't like it, James. I really, really didn't. But before I could tell you how much I didn't like it, we reached Ohio. We reached Ohio.
Oh, hi.
Ohio.
Oh, hi.
The camera didn't hear it. So, hey camera, what's round on both ends and high in the middle? Well, I'm gonna give the viewers at home a second to guess. Just say it out loud. No. The answer is Ohio. Ohio. Is it how it's?
Jamestown.
Is it how it's?
I'm gonna turn the camera off. We reached Cleveland in exactly an hour. We didn't have time to explore, but it looks pretty nice from this view. Eric took the wheel next, but now everyone else had fallen asleep, so it was just me and him. Unfortunately, all we drove through for the next 6 hours were fields, farms, and farms. And also fields. A quick fill of the tank, and we continued. Maybe it was the warm sun in our face, or maybe the fact that we were getting so close to our destination, but some of us got a gust of wind back in our system. We remembered that we were all on a trip together, and that this, in itself, is the fun part. The destination was, yeah, Chicago, but The main point of this road trip was so we could all be on a road trip together. But no time to reminisce because we were getting closer to Chicago, baby.
Now that's a Chicago. That's what I call a Chicago. Chicago. And we still have like half an hour.
It's so far.
It's so close, it's so far.
Dude, Chicago's a big boy.
I'm excited. Oh my god, I'm so excited to be in fucking Chicago. Fuck.
We worked hard to get here.
We really did. I can't wait to be here and then leave tomorrow. we did a good thing. We're smart, guys.
Just spend a little more than 24 hours in Chicago.
We were here in Chicago, 15 hours of driving and a diet consisting of peach rings and water, all leading up to this. We parked in a garage a couple blocks away from the Airbnb and hauled all of our necessities. Just walking down that one street was euphoric enough, a new place to explore. Also, we weren't stuck in a car together, which made it even better. Before long, we soon reached our Airbnb.
Hit the light.
No idea. Door. Where's the light?
Is this the light?
That cut wasn't intended. That was my genuine reaction to the Airbnb. The whole place was small but big at the same time. There was so much to look at. I didn't really give a tour of the place with my camera because I was so enthralled with the place in the moment, but I did do a quick tour of the place through my Snapchat, which I will put here.
Hi, welcome to the Airbnb. Here's James. Here's the TV that we have on. It's all the weird Chicago stuff. I don't know what these are. Here's the couch that also converts into the bed. That's where I'll be sleeping. Here's this. Here's the mirror. Hi, it's me, Jordan. Hi, hello. And then here's the things. Here's the vacuum and the mop, which is really cool. Here's up here's all the cleaning things. Here's some utensils and dishes. Here's more things. Oh God, James, what the fuck? Anyway, here's more cabinet space. Here's the fridge. Here's the beer we provided and the soda we provided. But they provided this creamer for the coffee that they provided. 8 stars. Here's Eric with the toaster. Here's Jill. Here's the queen size bed where Jill and Tristan are gonna be sleeping. Here up here is where Eric's sleeping. I wanted to sleep here, but no, I guess fuck me. Anyway, here's where James is sleeping, and here's also James. And then if you come out here, oh my god, this is gonna be such a pain. Yeah. Come out here. Here's the deck. It's a deck. We have a deck to ourselves. It's so cool. I love it here. Chicago is really cool.
Thanks, Jordan. We got ready to go out in town. We all got dressed in our Sunday best and we were off. We had no destination in particular, we were just going to explore the places nearby. We decided to have dinner at Poor House Tavern, a really nice restaurant / bar where I got some amazing mac and cheese. No, Jill, you can't have any. Go away, it's mine. A few blocks down was House of Glums where we stopped for drinks. We stayed there for most of the night and even befriended the bartenders working there. They eventually closed the place down for the night, but afterwards brought us to this place called Wiener Circle, where they insult you and yell profanity at you while giving you what I think is the most authentic Chicago dog in the city. It was a great night and a great kickstart to this trip.
You know, yeah. Because I took last shift last year. Like, that's not a person you should talk to. You sure?
I don't know either, Tristan, but it's day 2 of the Chicago trip. Our only full day in the city, so we had to make the absolute best of it. Our first stop was breakfast at La Fournette, a really nice French bakery that serves the best crepe Suzettes ever. Yes, really. We then walked over to North Avenue Beach, where there weren't really any people there because it was raining, which made it a little bit more peaceful. We walked on the water towards Photography Point, a point on the weird path that extends out in the water, where you can get a photo of the Chicago skyline in all of its Chicago glory. We continued on this walkway where James and Eric almost got stuck in an abandoned Bowie dock thing. We then remembered that we had to move out of the Airbnb by 3, so we headed back to pack, but not before a game of rock chess, or is it pebble checkers? But then we went back to pack up and absolutely not dilly-dally.
Oh my goodness. Oh god. Oh no. The dream is collapsing.
However, will you survive? I'm trapped.
We said goodbye to the Airbnb and packed up the Jeep like we didn't just unpack it yesterday. We also ended up turning the trunk of the Jeep into a bed so that way people can actually sleep. Dumb idea? Maybe, but it was so worth it. We continued our tour of the city and saw God in the form of a dog wearing a poncho with ducks on it. As someone who grew up in smaller cities, Chicago seemed so massive to me. There was just more city to explore at every turn and block. We headed to the museum district of the city, where we met a guy named Havlokix? Must be a Chicago name. Anyway, we went to the planetarium, ready to see stars and planets and moons, and we realized that planets are fucking lame. Just kidding, it was just really expensive. We instead decided to go over to the Field Museum, Chicago's Museum of Natural History. They got the front desk decided to give us dumb to us a map and point out the exhibits we had to see, which was really nice. We were greeted by Bushman, the first gorilla to live in Chicago. He kept looking at me like how frat boys look at you when they know they can bench more than you, and it's like, I know you can, but like there's no need to brag, you know? We went upstairs to see the big Brontosaurus skeleton, who we were prompted to get a selfie with on top of the floor, which of course I had to do. I don't know what the hell this was, but he was massive. Who allowed this thing to live and breathe? How is he dead? How are we not the extinct ones when this thing was existing and being a general menace of the world? The dinosaur section featured the classic T-Rex for the normies. The Triceratops was pretty cool, but not as cool as this massive unit next to him, the Protoceratops. I love him, I love him, I will die for him. Oh, but don't worry gamers, they have something just for you. A dino-soaring VR adventure where you can soar through the prehistoric skies and eventually die because you clearly don't know the pterodactyl meta, you pleb. I then saw this sign that advertised Sue, the T-Rex, but I thought this was the T-Rex, right? Whatever, I'm up to see more T-Rex. I mean, who doesn't want to... Oh, that's Sue. Look at her. Look at her massive dome. Look at her jawline. Look at her teeth. How did this thing ever die? In the next room, we saw a life-size model of Sue, and holy shit is she a massive lady. I kept expecting her to come to life and eat me just for being an inferior species. Like, look at the size of her stomach. You could fit an overpriced one-bedroom apartment in there, and it'd still be roomier than one. Alright, enough about Sue. What the hell is that giant thing? Is that another dinosaur? No, it's a giant sloth. This thing was probably the most unsettling thing in the entire place. I don't want to talk about it anymore. After that, Tristan and I waited for the slowpokes to meet up with us so we could head out, where it was incredibly windy and we forgot we were in Chicago. We got lunch with a friend of mine who lives in town and took this as a chance to just breathe and relax and just unwind for a bit before nighttime. We had 3 more stops. First off, the Bean, the most famous art piece in the city. Despite it raining, a lot of people are still heading to the Bean, as not even the weather could hide how massive this thing was. You could really see all of Chicago by looking at it, I presume. It was night and the Bean was sweating. I couldn't really make out anything in the reflection. After that, we had to be tourists and get authentic Chicago deep dish pizza. After asking numerous locals we encountered on the trip, a majority of them told us to go to Lou Malnati's. As we waited for the food, we all realized that the trip was coming to an end. We were all really sad to leave in a few hours, but still bewildered that we somehow pulled this trip off and enjoyed each other's presence for so long. And oh my god, look at that slice. Just a mountain of cheese, sauce, and sausage in that order. It was truly some of the best pizza I've ever had, and I think everyone else agreed, especially Jill.
Jill, you're cheesing everywhere.
You can't explain that it goes cheesing. That's completely. I'm sorry, Jill. James. I'm sorry, Jill. James.
On our way to our last stop, James, Eric, and Jill had a detour in mind, so they took me and Tristan to 21C, a hotel/art museum that's open to the public 24/7. All of the art was astounding, but here are some of my favorites. In all seriousness, this was probably one of my favorite parts of the trip. After passing a Wahlburgers, because apparently nobody in New England should ever be too far away from one, we reached our final destination, Portillo's. Truly the only reason I wanted to come to Chicago. We sat in the massive line at drive-thru, which to me was a sign that this would be every second worth waiting.
They have ribs.
Drive-through?
They have drive-through ribs. They have drive-through pasta.
Just a Portillo's beef hot dog all the way. That's
Okay.
Mustard, relish, onions.
Jill, you want anything?
And sport peppers. Fuck yeah.
Perfect.
Are you getting food or are you just getting milkshake?
I'm just kidding. I only want sugar.
You know, that's what they say you should do before a road trip. Pure sugar.
Oh yeah.
No sustenance.
Say there's no sustenance brewing in this little engine right here.
It's been pizza.
Yeah. A lot of pizza.
What else have we had?
We did.
The last thing I remember eating was pizza.
I want the black bar salad.
Can I have the redacted?
Yeah, please. I want the off menu.
Have the beep!
I think I know what you want. You have to censor yourself. You shouldn't order it.
I just got a cup full of raspberry vinaigrette.
Come here, you mother.
The ordering process was difficult, mainly because the speaker system at the menu sounded like they were taking our order from another Portillo's. I know that sounds weird, but listen and you'll know what I mean.
Can I get a strawberry malt shake?
What size?
Large.
Oh, yeah, baby. George, do you want anything?
I got my dog.
Oh. That's enough.
And can I have a chocolatey Claire milkshake? Claire? Yeah. I hope. I'm so scared.
Hot dog, strawberry, large eclair.
Yeah.
And the cake shake.
And the cake shake, right? At the top?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Tristan.
Did you order 3 shakes?
Is that bad? Nope. Nope.
Eric, how many shakes did you order?
Maybe 3?
Why?
I hope 3. Because everything I said, he responded with,
But how many? Why 3 shakes? I didn't want a shake.
1, 2, 3.
I didn't want a shake. I
room.
didn't want a shake.
You gotta
Yeah,
pack
you
that
wanted the
shake in
chocolate
there,
shake.
brother. You gotta find room.
No.
For it. gotta
You said
find
you
room.
wanted the. You said you wanted the shake.
No, I said I just wanted the hot
You said
dog.
you wanted a handshake.
Hey,
No.
George, do you want a milkshake?
No.
Well, surprise. I got you something.
Shit. Like, it's really funny. Just the way you said surprise.
Thank you very much.
Oh my.
Which one is this?
Oh,
D.
D.
We have 2 more milkshakes coming, right? You got a strawberry milkshake and an eclair shake. Is there an eclair in that pen?
Maybe.
Did I just buy an eclair?
There's a tiramisu.
Well, we're still on a pickle.
Yep.
How's it going? Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I think we're good.
Yeah. We got the cake shake and the strawberry. The strawberry milkshake?
I'm an idiot. I saw the menu. I thought it said chocolate eclair milkshake. We're from Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. No, it's chocolate cake shake.
Is there any way I can get another milkshake at this stage, or is this too late? I don't know. What do you got? Apparently can't read. Actually, yeah. Can we have another chocolate cake shake?
Another cake shake?
Oh, that was. Oh shit! I love you. I love you. Thank you. All right. I'm in love. Let's go back.
And on that, our trip was over. We headed back home, we made a few stops in Cleveland and Niagara Falls, but our journey was essentially done. We somehow managed to get the essential taste of Chicago in just over a day. Was it rushed? Yeah. Was it poorly planned? That's subjective. But was it fun? With these friends, yeah. Our whole goal was to go on a road trip. Chicago was really just a bonus. As cliche as it sounds, it's never about the destination, it's more about the journey. To me, there is no greater example of that than this trip. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Just maybe not in a Jeep.